Hi Pookie, these are the 10 books that I want to read before the end of the year. And normally I don't like making TBRs of sorts because it feels like too much pressure, but I am genuinely so excited for every single one of these books, all of them. And so I can't wait to read them. This list has 4 fantasy, 2 thriller, 2 romance, 1 sci-fi, and 1 business book. Now let's get into it. The first book was one of the books that was on my most anticipated reads for this year. I don't know, it might have even come out 2 years ago, but it is The Paradise Problem. I searched high and low for this book because in Barnes & Nobles, they have one that has the sticker that can't be removed, and I was just, or it's like yellow, and I was like, no, or maybe it's pink, I can't remember. But I really wanted the green version, hardback, so I found it. I think I got it from Half Price Books. Nope, I did not get it from Half Price Book. There is a Barnes & Noble receipt. But anywho, I am genuinely excited because if you watch any of my reading videos, you probably know that I love fake dating. I love fake dating. It is just so funny to me. It's just like, it's almost like I love high stakes, and I feel like fake dating makes the stakes a little bit higher. It's not just like, oh, my heart, which is obviously high stakes, but it's like, oh, what if we get caught? But anyways, this is not just fake dating, this is fake marriage. So I don't think I've read a fake marriage book before. Also, this will be my first Christina Lauren book. I do have In a Holidays because in 2023 I bought it thinking I would read it, but I have not read it. But this will be my first Christina Lauren book. Very excited. Okay, a short summary. Anna married Liam in college for cheap housing. At graduation, she thought she signed the divorce papers. 3 years later, he's a Stanford professor who needs to stay married for 5 years to inherit $100 million. The problem is, he now has to introduce his broke, unpolished wife to his 1%er family, and she has no idea that they were still married. 5 stars. Anticipate? Yeah, 5 stars. I've never, like I said, I've never read Christina Lauren. I don't know if they're gonna be really funny or just, yeah, but. The next book I bought for when I was gonna be out on FMLA and bed rest because I had surgery earlier this year. And so I bought a couple books in anticipation of being able to read while I was on bed rest. The surgery took me out. I was legitimately flat for like 2 weeks straight. So I didn't read, I think I read literally 3 pages of my book stack, and I was like, I don't have the energy. I was in so much pain. But the book is The Perfect Divorce. I was just walking around Barnes & Noble looking for some books to pick up, and this one just looked interesting to me. This one seemed interesting, partially because it has blood on the side, which is just, I think, so creative. Blood, blood, blood. So I picked it up and was like, yep. That's the one. Then I got home, and then a couple days later I realized this is the second book in a series, which I think is kind of like The Housemaid in the sense that basically the Housemaid series, you can read them individually, but they are sequential. But you don't really need to know what happened in the other books to start it. And I imagine that this is similar. I don't know. I literally was like, The Perfect Divorce. Also the page with like blood coming out. So interesting. Till death do us part. Yours, not mine. Okay, a little summary. Sarah defended her first husband, Adam, against murder charges 11 years ago. Now, remarried to Bob, she files for divorce after he cheats. But things spiral when new DNA evidence reopens Adam's case and Bob's mistress goes missing. Suddenly, Sarah's caught between 2 potential murders, and her divorce might end with till death do us part, after all. So I think Sarah is, yeah, it says she defended her first husband. So she is an attorney herself. And a little double jeopardy, maybe. I'm going to predict that she's the one that killed both of them. Both of her husband's mistresses. Prediction. And I imagine it's going to be a vibe of a Frida McFadden book. And so I'm going to go with 4 stars for the shock factor of a new author. The next book, again, was one of the 3 books that I picked up for my post-surgery recovery time, which actually, this one, The Paradise Problem, was also a post-surgery recovery time book that I did not get to. The next one is A Rebel Witch. And so I did read Heartless Hunter either earlier this year, I think, or late last year. but I thoroughly enjoyed it. While I was in the book, I was like, yes, this is great. Strong female lead, fake dating. It had all the elements. I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is not bad. So it's young adult romantasy, and the sequel is Rebel Witch, which I am not optimistic about this. I think it's going to be a cat and mouse game. I think it's going to focus more on the romance and not them overcoming each other, but them falling in love, which I just think I'm more for the fantasy than the romance. Like fantasy with the side of romance, not romance with the side of fantasy. But I don't know, I predict I will give this 3 stars. And I want to reread Heartless Hunter before reading Rebel Witch. But they are thick, but they're also short. Oh, the Heartless Hunter summary. In a world where witches are hunted, Rune hides as a socialite by day and rescues witches as the vigilante Crimson Moth by night. To throw off suspicion, she fake courts Gideon, a ruthless witch hunter who's fake courting her right back to catch the moth. They fall for each other for real, but neither knows they're hunting the person they're falling in love with. So that's how Heartless Hunter starts, but there is a conclusion to all of that. The Rebel Witch summary, which I feel like I can say, after Gideon betrayed Rune to the witch hunters, she's forced to ally with a ruthless witch plotting to overthrow the Republic. Gideon's horrified she's joined his enemy and vows every witch must die, including her. But when they're forced to work together, his feelings return and he faces an impossible choice. Kill the girl he loves or let the world burn. This next book is also a highly anticipated read. I love heists. I love Money Heist on Netflix. It's one of my favorite shows ever. And Lupin is another heist show, also on Netflix. But I just think the strategy and the thinking that it takes to pull off a heist, my brain could never. I would love to be at the point where I'm like strategic chess moves back and forth, but my brain doesn't work like that. And so I'm amazed when people can just like think around corners, think on their feet, and win. It's also why I like Scandal, because I feel like Olivia Pope, the main character, is really good strategic thinker and can kind of always do you one up. Anyways, this book is a heist book. It's a fantasy heist book, which I feel like would be so fun. I don't actually have a copy, but it's called 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. And so I've heard it talked about so many times, and when I heard that it was a heist, I was like, ooh, that one's for me. Also, I should say that there is a trilogy before the 6 of Crows duology takes place. And so I've gone back and forth over the last maybe year or so of like whether or not I should read the trilogy first or not. But I've decided I'm not going to read the trilogy first. I don't want to read 3 whole books just to get to the 2 books that I think I would enjoy more. The internet basically says if you don't read the trilogy first, you probably will be a little bit more lost with the magic and understanding how the magic works. And any cameos you won't be really surprised by because you just won't know who the character is. And then also with the world building, it's just the world is complete, so you're not seeing it develop and described as the story is progressing. So I think the biggest thing for me is probably the magic, but I just feel like I can figure it out. The idea of reading 3 whole books just to get to 1 or 2 is that's just too much. But here is a short summary. Criminal mastermind Kaz Brecker is offered an impossible heist that can make him rich beyond belief, but he needs a crew. He assembles 6 dangerous outcasts: a convict, a sharpshooter, a runaway, a spy, a magical heartrender, and a master thief. Together, they're the only thing standing between the world and destruction, if they don't kill each other first. I want to build a SaaS product, or basically a software. So I'm doing the prep for that now and hopefully going to start developing in January of 2026. And so this book is one of the books on my list of 3 to do as prep for development. And so this book is called The SaaS Playbook. It just sounds like it would be a really valuable book to read. And so I am going to read it. This is the one business book that's on the list. A short summary, if you're interested. The author, Rob Walling, serial entrepreneur, shares battle-tested strategies for bootstrapping $1 million SaaS business without venture capital. Learn how to compete against giants, structure pricing for growth, avoid common founder mistakes, and discover the 4 SaaS cheat codes that accelerate success. Whether you're a developer or can't code at all, this book gives you actionable tactics to build software products people actually pay for. I think it'll be good. I definitely don't want to get into analysis paralysis and just thinking I need to learn more, I need to learn more before developing. But right now I'm just capped out on time, and so don't want to start development until I have more dedicated space in my brain to do that. And so right now I'm focusing my energy on reading and editing basically for the rest of the year. The next 3 books are Book of the Month books. And this video is not sponsored by Book of the Month, but I just got this package today. But let's open it up. This is also going to be my last Book of the Month package, I believe. Well, I canceled after I got this because I just wanted to use my last credits and be done. I have had Book of the Month for 2 years, almost exactly 2 years now, and I've only had 4 boxes shipped. Of those boxes, I've read 2 books. Both of them were 5-star books, so we're 2 for 2 for the books that I've read. I have, I think, 3 other books besides the 3 ones in here that are still to be read. The first book on top is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Oh my gosh. My first book was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and it was 6-star read. I had been watching YouTube videos, booktube videos for maybe a year at that point, and I was like, I don't understand why people rate books 6 stars. That doesn't make sense. And then I read Divine Rivals, and I was like, yes, this is a league of its own. The writing was so poetic, so lyrical. In the book Divine Rivals, they're writing letters. I love letters. I love writing letters. I love receiving letters. So my time in that book was just so fun. 1, it was young adult. 2, it was fantasy. 3, it included letters. And 4, the writing was just so good. I literally read the book and I was like, I did not know writing could be this good. It's like, I haven't seen anything like it since. So I don't know if it was just that, it's a duology, but I don't know if it's just that duology or if it's Rebecca Ross. So we're gonna give her a little whirl again. This book is thick boy. I think it's like 500 pages. 530 pages, wow. It's a standalone book, and I believe it's in the world that Divine Rivals takes place in. So that's also very exciting because that world is a fun world. It's like a little bit of magic, but not too much, not too crazy. So anyways, one of my goals for this year was to read her whole backlog. Has that happened? No. But a little summary of Wild Reverence. Also, everything I've heard about Wild Reverence has just been so overwhelmingly positive. Matilda is a young goddess with messenger magic and a dangerous secret she must hide. 10 years ago, mortal Vincent wrote to her, begging her for help. She never answered. Now, hardened and jaded, Vincent has forgotten her until she literally tumbles into his bedroom with a letter. They were fated to find each other beyond their shared dreams. But to survive and change blood-soaked ways of the gods, Matilda must learn to be loved. And so I follow Rebecca Ross on Instagram, and I was wondering if the characters in this book are the gods of the Divine Rivals duology. Matilda was not the name of any of the characters in Divine Rivals. But also this takes place way before Divine Rivals, which was the time of the gods. So I don't know how these gods play into the gods of Divine Rivals. So TBD, but a little 500-page book. Don't know when the last time I read a 500-page book, if ever. The next book is Red City, which I believe is a series, and I don't generally like starting series that haven't been completed. But it's Red City by Marie Lu. Power always has a price, which that is honestly the line that got me. It was something about like when you use power, it takes from you as well, something to that extent. And ooh, I didn't know it would be, got some sprayed edges. The back of the book says, alchemy and ambition, power and perfection, love and lies. Welcome to Angel City. Don't let it break your heart. I don't know, it's a nice cover. Ooh. Ooh, we got some little icons, some drawings. Interesting. This also feels very thick. It's 400 pages. Not crazy. A short summary. In Angel City, alchemy is a drug called sand that transforms people into their perfect selves, controlled by two rival crime syndicates. Sam claws her way into Grand Central from poverty, while Ari rises as a star in Lumines. Once they were childhood friends who might have loved each other. Now they're enemies on opposite sides of an escalating war where ambition becomes power, loyalty becomes lies, and no one may survive. So I guess almost like childhood friends to enemies. Love it. The last book of the month book is The Summer We Ran by Audrey Ingram. I once read a book called The Boyfriend Candidate. Such a fun book. Of course, it has fake dating. But this book, The Summer We Ran, it's a gubernatorial race, which gubernatorial is just a fun word to say. Gubernatorial. Also, gubernatorial versus governor race. I don't know. President, presidential. Governor, gubernatorial. Anywho, does your past define your destiny? Told through multiple perspectives, rich with emotion and immersive dual timelines, The Summer We Ran weaves together a story of lost love, devastating secrets, shocking sabotage, and the painstaking decision two people must make in order to fulfill the futures they each desire. So I believe it's two people running against each other for governor of some state. What state? I do not know. Tess and Grant. Virginia. No. Yeah, governor of Virginia. Okay, I'm actually going to read the summary from the book jacket. In the summer of 1996, Tess Murphy's mom gave her 2 rules to abide by. Keep quiet and stay out of trouble. Her mother landed a new job as a cook at an affluent Virginia estate and didn't want anything to risk the opportunity, least of all her outspoken teenage daughter. What no one saw coming was Tess falling deeply in love with the boy next door, high society Grant Alexander. Over a few wondrous and heat-filled months, Tess and Grant's love bloomed so ferociously it feels utterly impossible that anything can keep them apart until tragedy strikes. Now, more than 2 decades later, also tragedy strikes? Maybe Tess's mom passes away? Now, more than 2 decades after their epic teenage romance, Tess and Grant are both running for governor of Virginia, and secrets from that summer threaten to shatter their families, their political futures, and the memory of the first love that shaped their lives. So interesting. 1996. They're my age. So those are the book of the month books. I have 2 final books, 1 thriller and 1 sci-fi. If you're enjoying the video so far, you should give it a like. The thriller book is actually an arc. I think it comes out in January. It's called Stolen in Death by J.D. Robb. And I don't know much about it, but I just remember the cover looks very interesting. And it's a thriller. And I want to read thrillers from an indie author. Like, are they better than the thrillers that are on the market? I don't know. The summary. Multi-billionaire Nathan Barrister is murdered with an amethyst near a secret vault full of stolen treasures belonging to his late father, not him. The family was trying to return the stolen goods anonymously when Nathan was killed. Lieutenant Eve Dallas and her ex-thief husband, Rourke, must figure out if Nathan died for his father's sins and whether it was passion or revenge that killed a seemingly good man. So kind of detective, but then the death is at the beginning of the book, and then the detective is trying to figure out what happened. So that's interesting. I'm like, where's the thrill in that? I don't know. The final book for 2025 is a book that is on my Goodreads TBR, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I think once was 2024 and then 2 times in 2025, like back to back. But basically, I've heard a lot about this book. You probably heard a lot about this book. I don't know if this book is just making its rounds again and again. I don't think it's a new book, but it is Project Hail Mary. So this is the sci-fi book. I don't think I've ever read a sci-fi book. I will say Interstellar is on my top 10 list of favorite movies. But besides that, I'm really not into sci-fi, Star Wars, Zoolander, I don't know, whatever the other star one was. But yeah, I just don't care about outer space in general. So if you haven't heard about it or don't know what it's about, here's a summary. Ryland Grace wakes up on a spaceship millions of miles away from home with no memory and 2 dead crewmates. As his memories return, he realizes he's humanity's last hope on a desperate mission to stop an extinction-level threat. With the clock ticking and the nearest human light years away, he must solve an impossible scientific mystery all alone. Or does he? I don't know, waking up with 2 dead crewmates, I'd be like, yeah, it's time for me to go. Like, that is a fear of, like, I've thought if I was an astronaut, there's just no way. Again, my brain can only hold so much. And so being able to think on my feet and figure out, oh, like, we just blew an arm of this shuttle. What should we do? I'd be like, we're gonna die immediately. Like, I don't know. That's something I could get better at. I don't know how you really get better at that. Maybe putting yourself in stressful situations and analyzing how you respond, but so anyways, it's a very highly regarded book and I'm excited to see what the hype's all about. So those are the 10, or really 12 books that I want to read before the end of the year. I think there are 10 weeks left or 9 weeks left. So I think it's doable, but I have to be intentional and consistent, as with all goals. Predictions on my lowest rated book is either going to be Rebel Witch or honestly Project Hail Mary. Maybe if I can't get into it, could be tough. A new genre, I just don't know how I'm gonna respond. Or The Perfect Divorce. I think those two will probably be the lowest rated. Highest, I think Wild Reverence will be great. There might be letters in Wild Reverence. I'm not sure. Oh, there is. In the summary, it said something about a letter. So I wonder if those letters continue, and if they do, definitely could be my highest rated. We've got a nice mix of books and book videos you can look forward to, but you made it to the end of this video. That means you should give it a like. Thanks for watching. Bye.